10th October for 3 days up to 12th October. From that time, then again, they will go for 25 days short recess. That is from 13th October to 6th November. I think this particular idea is put in place to ensure that members of parliament participate in the campaigns for the presidential election that has been scheduled to run on October 26th. But then after that, the Parliament, the National Assembly, will be resuming on 7th November up to 7th December for 20 sittings before they take a long recess between 8th December to 12th February next year, when they'll be resuming for the second session of the House. So this particular, from the look of things, the timetable that has been given by the House Business Committee in the National Assembly, it appears between now and October 26th, members of Parliament will only have about only 8 sittings. So for those members, for the NASA brigade who've decided to skip some of the sessions, it just falls within their mandate. Is comfortable for them. They can make technical appearances in the House to ensure that they beat the 8 consecutive sittings deadline, and ensure that by next year, when Parliament or after 7th November, when the House resumes its sittings with the presumptive president-elect, that particular time, then the House will continue with its business, because NASA members of Parliament have said they'll not nominate members to the House committees. Neither will they participate actively in the House deliberations or debates. This particular aspect has crippled the House business, because it appears the Jubilee side cannot run the show on its own, and that could be informing why maybe this calendar has been put in such a manner to to ensure that the House business is not interrupted as such until after the elections that are scheduled for 26th October.
Linda? I need you to clear something for me, because you're saying without the NASA team, Parliament is not able to run, or some of these committees are not able to run. But I recall very clearly the president just a couple of days ago making it very clear. He said, we have the majority in both houses. We can run both houses without even a single member of the opposition.
Yes, what is happening is that it's only one side of the House that is trying to run the business. It could be regarded as a Jubilee affair, because the House Business Committee has been constituted, comprising of seven members of Parliament, and this means that the House Business Committee does not have the other part of the 4 members from the opposition side, NASA. So even when it comes to arranging the House business, the House Business Committee is incapacitated, though it's the one that is mandated to plan the House calendar and business of the House. So by the absence of NASA politicians, it means that the smooth running of Parliament will be a bit interrupted. We've seen the only NASA has put in place the minority leadership in the Senate and the minority leadership in the National Assembly. But the constitution of other houses, other committees, is yet to be done, or to benefit from the membership of NASA. And we saw yesterday also the Jubilee side had appointed 12 nominees for the House for the Committee on Selection. But that debate is ongoing. NASA was to submit 7 names, but those names, the nominees, the list is yet to come out. So whatever is happening, it's like in a way it's crippling the business, the running of the business in the House, especially the National Assembly. The Senate also will this afternoon be moving its calendar on of the House to show how it will be running its business, but the Senate's calendar is not yet out. It's only the National Assembly's calendar which is out, and they've already stated clearly that they will be taking a break from Thursday this week to 9th October. That is 11 days. Then resume for 3 days between 10th and 12th October, and then take a long break, 25 days between 13th October to 6th November, a period within which we expect the campaigns to have been heightened, and also also Kenyans are expected to vote for the president after the August 8th election was nullified. So after we have a presumptive president-elect in office, I think that's when parliament business will come on board. And I think that is what informed the House Business Committee when it was coming up with this calendar, because from the look of it, from 7th November up to 7th December, that is when the House will resume for 20 sittings before they take a break of 10 weeks between 8th December to 12th February next year. So it's meant maybe the House leadership, I think, from its wisdom, it expects by this time, by February next year, then everything will have settled, and then Parliament will be able to carry its mandate, because NASA lawmakers have said that they'll only present their nominees to various House committees after the October 26th election.
Listen,
when
Amimo,
Kenyans will have elected their president in the House. Yeah.
Amimo, and you see, that is what
Linda?
is concerning a lot of people, and that is where the crippling effect comes in. Because NASA has not been able to give a list of individuals or representatives to certain committees. And like we know, the Parliament runs its business through some of these committees. So then, in other words, nothing can happen before then.
What was agreed from the Jubilee Parliamentary Group yesterday, it was that they did indicate that they would constitute the membership of the Budget and Appropriations Committee. This committee is very important because of the supplementary budgets that we expect to be tabled in the House for passage. IEBC is expecting to get 10 billion shillings to run the fresh poll that is scheduled for October 26th. So the Budget Committee will scrutinize those figures and what IEBC wants vis-a-vis the budget allocation, and then bring that motion to the House for passage, probably before we get to those elections, maybe on between 10th to 12th October, when the House will be resuming its sittings. And if it can be done probably by tomorrow, but maybe from the look of things, maybe it couldn't be possible because the Budget Committee has not been established as such. And if it is established, then it means that it only comprise of members of the Jubilee side. The other committee that the Jubilee Parliamentary Group agreed upon was the Justice and Legal Affairs Committee, which they want constituted. And this particular committee, why Jubilee side wants it constituted, is that they are also keen to make several amendments to the election law. They indicate that they want to have these laws in place before October 26th, but then that appears a long shot, because given the timings and also the calendar, I think that will be the new laws they envisage to pass in the House that will introduce radical, massive changes to the election laws, and also touching on the judiciary, especially the Supreme Court, when it comes to nullifying the presidential election, because they indicate that they want for the Supreme Court judges to nullify a presidential election, then they must get two-third support from the 7 judges. So it means two-thirds of the judges, unlike the current, their Jubilee side is a bit miffed by what happened in the Supreme Court. They say the 4 judges who disqualified, who nullified the president's election, they feel that was not adequate enough, and they are they are tightening the laws to ensure that that verdict must be agreed by 2/3 of membership in the Supreme Court. And the same amendment they also want to pass to the IEBC. They are indicating that it appears to them they feel that the current chairperson maybe has been making unilateral decisions. So they want whatever decisions that come from the chairperson of IEBC should garner support from 2/3 of the commissioners. And also, they also have been toying with this idea of ensuring that the chairperson of IEBC is not qualified as a lawyer as the Constitution stipulates, because the Constitution says for you to be qualified as the IEBC chairperson, you must be a person who is able to serve as a High Court judge, and this means you must have a legal background. But it appears the Jubilee lawmakers want to shelve that particular provision and have any other person, not necessarily a lawyer, take up that mandate of the chairperson of IEBC. But then that also will require maybe a referendum, because it is that particular provision for the electing of IEBC chairperson. Those provisions are in the Constitution, and they are very clear that the IEBC chairperson must be a person of a legal mind and able to serve as a judge in the High Court of Kenya. Linda?
Okay. Amimo will, in fact, what you've just mentioned, some of the changes that Jubilee is proposing to shake the IEBC is part of what will form the conversation I'm about to have in studio with my guests. So we are focusing on that meeting that IEBC is supposed to have with the representatives from Jubilee and NASA. And then this particular plan to shake the IEBC, some of them, like you mentioned, Amimo, basically trying to change how the IEBC operates. So that is part of the conversation we'll be having. Patrick Amimo, thank you so much for speaking to us live from Parliament. And as we focus on that meeting that IEBC is expected to have this morning, we're asking you on a Twitter poll question, what do you think IEBC should do to solve the stalemate with NASA? What do you think the IEBC needs to do to solve that particular stalemate? I was speaking earlier to my colleague Murimi Mwangi, and he says the last thing he heard is that NASA said they're not going to show up for the meeting that has been scheduled for this morning. They had the irreducible minimums, which they say IEBC has refused to address. And remember, IEBC Chair Wafula Chebukati wrote a letter to NASA, and they're saying even that letter does not explain or does not seem to address some of the issues they have. So one, they're uncomfortable with Al Gore printing the ballot papers. They're uncomfortable with Saffron Morpho. They're uncomfortable with IEBC Secretariat. They're uncomfortable with the IEBC Chair, CEO, as well as some other officials within the IEBC. There are a raft of concerns, so to speak, that NASA has. But on the other hand, the Jubilee Party says these guys are just simply not ready for an election, and they're concerned that probably IEBC is bowing down to pressure. So this is a conversation we'll have in studio in just a couple of minutes. So like I said, let us know what you think IEBC should do to